By the time President Obama steps down, around 3 million individuals will have been deported under his watch. Sadly, but unsurprisingly, President Obama has come to be known among the growing Hispanic population in the US as the deporter-in-chief. Thousands of hardworking families in the US have been split by force as a consequence of this policy. If you were to re-enter politics, what would you do about this? Thank you.
Well, even if I don't re-enter politics, I will continue speaking out for comprehensive immigration reform, both because I think the people who are here, who are raising families and working hard and contributing to our country, deserve a path to citizenship. I have believed that for many years. I have argued that in many different contexts. I also think that we have to understand the difficulty that President Obama finds himself in, because there are laws that impose certain obligations on him. And it was my understanding that the numbers have been moderating, in part as the Department of Homeland Security and other law enforcement officials understood that separating children from families, I mean, the horror of a father or a mother going to work and being picked up and immediately whisked away, and children coming home from school to an empty house and nobody can say where their mother or their father is. That is just not who we are as Americans. And so I do think that while we continue to make the case, which you know is very controversial in some quarters, that we have to reform our immigration system, and we needed to do it yesterday. That's why I approved of the bill that was passed in the Senate. We need to show humanity with respect to people who are working, contributing right now, and deporting them, leaving their children alone, or deporting an adolescent, doing anything that is so contrary to our core values just makes no sense. So I would be very open to trying to figure out ways to change the law, even if we don't get to comprehensive immigration reform, to provide more leeway and more discretion for the executive branch.
And what about right now? Such an important issue. And what about right now, as we're seeing these thousands of children come across, shunted off into makeshift shelters?
It's horrible.
Hard choice. Let them stay in the United States or send them back?
Well, two quick points. One, the numbers are increasing dramatically. And the main reason I believe why that's happening is that the violence in certain of those Central American countries is increasing dramatically. And there is not sufficient law enforcement or will on the part of the governments of those countries to try to deal with this exponential increase in violence, drug trafficking, the drug cartels, and many children are fleeing from that violence.
Should they be able to stay here? It's safer.
It may be safer, but that's not the answer. I do not.
So should they be sent back?
Well, first of all, we have to provide the best emergency care we can provide. We have children 5 and 6 years old who have come up from Central America. We need to do more to provide border security in southern Mexico.
They should be sent back now?
Well, they should be sent back as soon as it can be determined who responsible adults and their families are, because there are concerns about whether all of them can be sent back, but I think all of them who can be should be reunited with their families. And just as Vice President Biden is arguing today in Central America, we've got to do more. I started this when I was secretary, to deal with the violence in this region, to deal with border security. But we have to send a clear message. Just because your child gets across the border, that doesn't mean the child gets to stay. So we don't want to send a message that is contrary to our laws or will encourage more children to make that dangerous journey.